Well, as we are done with the awards, we are now, as mentioned, heading into the second panel discussion for the day. We would love to hear our esteemed speakers exchange thoughts and give fresh perspectives on the topic. And the topic, as mentioned earlier, is shift in the K-12 learning paradigm, blended, flipped, and experiential learning. And it now gives me immense pleasure to introduce you all to the panelists. Well, starting off with Dr. Seema Saini, CEO, NL Dalmia High School. With 30 years of extensive experience in education, Dr. Saini is a dedicated leader committed to fostering excellence in learning. She is the proud recipient of the prestigious De Rosio Award from the Council of Indian School Certificate, recognizing her outstanding contributions to education and human enrichment. With a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome on stage Dr. Seema Saini, CEO, NL Dalmia High School. Next up, our next panelist is Dr. Revati Srinivasan, Principal Srimati Sulochana Devi Singhania School. With 25 years of teaching experience and 20 years in administrative roles, Dr. Revati Srinivasan joining us. With 25 years of teaching experience and 20 years in administrative roles, Dr. Srinivasan brings a wealth of knowledge across all grade levels from kindergarten to grade 12. Her expertise spans a wide range of specialties including school management and planning, curriculum pedagogy, and design and development. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. She is also the moderator for this panel discussion. Next up, our next panelist is Mr. Mudassar Nazar, Chief Executive Officer of Birla Brainiacs. As the new CEO of Birla Brainiacs, Mr. Mudassar Nazar brings a wealth of experience in education, technology, and health tech, poised to lead the next phase of growth and innovation in the sector. He has a proven track record of strategic leadership, having previously served as the Chief Operating Officer at Client Decision, where he navigated critical operations during the challenges of the pandemic. With a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Mr. Mudassar Nazar. All right, I think Mr. Mudassar is not present here with us. Moving on to our next panelist, Mr. Nikhil Wagh, Founder, Chairman, EduCon International School, Pune. With 23 years of experience in education, Nikhil is a dedicated teacher and visionary leader. He has pioneered education for holistic well-being, transforming his school into a 21st century learning environment. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Our next panelist is Ms. Abha Meghe, CEO of Meghe Group of Schools, a visionary educational leader. Abha is deeply committed to nurturing 21st century skills and fostering holistic development among students, empowering them to become responsible citizens. Under her guidance, the Meghe Group has transformed schools into vibrant learning environments that prioritize innovation and critical thinking. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. All right. So I'd like to correct myself. The topic for this panel is building and creating brand identity of your institution in the competitive world of education. And over to Dr. Revati to moderate this session. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to all of you. I know the lunch was heavy, and yes, we are awaiting people who have already gone for lunch. A small panel here thought we'll make it more conversational, and people speak. All our experts out here speak from their own experiences in building their schools. Each one of them runs not just one school but many schools also. So I think that way we will gather a lot more of information. The topic is very interesting and I think very relevant today on how do we go about building and creating brand identity of your own institution in a very competitive world. If I were to look at it, today's world, we just need two skills: the skill to build and the skill to sell. The skill to build is what we are doing on a regular basis, building our institution. The skill to sell is not about selling seats. It's not about selling something. It is about being able to convey to the outside world what we stand for. As in the field of education, that's what we are selling. So are we able to communicate very effectively to the outside world what does our institution stand for? So when you think about Coca-Cola, okay, immediately you will know what's the kind of logo they use and what's the design they use, what are the colors they use. So there are very specific artifacts which are physically involved in the making of a brand, one. But two is the culture in our schools that helps to establish the brand. To me, that's very important. Right from the Gurukul system to the current times, it was not that we didn't have competition. But now, very consciously, people are building on our brands. And for me, it is not about marketing. I think in the field of education, it's about making or building a sense of belongingness among our students, among our parents, among our stakeholders. That's what actually it stands for. So I will put across my questions which are based on that. I'll start with Dr. Seema. Seema, how did you go about starting with the Dalmia brand that you can see? Was it that you thought about the artifacts first and then thought about anything else that you need to build, or was it vice versa? So I'm asking this question to you because you also head a management institute. So you actually can draw a parallel as to what we can do. And this is for all new principals or new educators who may be heading institutions in the near future. How do I start and where do I start?
Thank you, Revati ma'am. A pleasure to be here with you on this panel and to share insights and discuss on this topic, which has gained a lot of momentum in today's times. Especially now. There was a time when we thought education, healthcare, they don't need advertisements, they don't need marketing, they are not in that world, which I, till date, stand for to some extent. I have a very strong belief system that it is more of value creation. And what kind of value do we create in the society? What do we stand for, as you rightly said? What is the purpose of our being? So if we run schools or if we take care of our school, we just need to look inward. So responding specifically to your specific question, as in for what did we do for brand Dalmia? I never thought of it as brand Dalmia to operate in the first place. When I joined as a, as a principal and we started working, it was plain and simple, keep doing the things that we need to do. Create value, focus internally. So it went the other way around, and lo and behold, before you know it, people consider you as brands. So what was it that brought us there? It is the value creation. So artifacts, logo, as you mature, you realize that that consistency is required, and then you start going that path. A certain tonality of communication, a certain tonality of your relation with your stakeholders, all of these end up making it what it is. But essence lies in creating that value, and that is your purpose. If you know your purpose, you know what is the vision, what is the mission, and you move accordingly. and it ripples through the last person, that's when you realize that, okay, there is some consistency for a brand to evolve. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's very beautifully said because I know that most people believe that at the entry point of your school, that decides what your school is. Your security person actually is the kind of ambassador of your school and tells you what is the class of the school or what does the school stand for. So my question to you is about what kind of values would you want, you to convey through your brand? What kind of values that your school stand for? You're the chairman of the school, so what kind of values? And how did you go about it? Did you involve teachers? Did you involve students, parents, and all the other stakeholders in order to help you build the brand?
Yeah, absolutely. Good afternoon, one and all. It's a pleasure and privilege to be amongst all of you today and to be a part of this esteemed panel. So like ma'am said, Seema ma'am said, value is most important. And we at EIS believe that education is not just the amount of information that is fed into a child's brain, undigested, unrelated, and unassimilated. The very essence of education is the formation of character, expression of intellect, and developing a positive view of life. So at our schools, when we talk about what value we want to add on, basically we sum up in this simple line that education imparted at our schools strives to make each and every student a good human being first, which will be the foundation of the success and glory. To be a good human being, all the 4 dimensions of a human have to be explored, and we as educational institutions should provide them a platform. The intellectual dimension, the creative dimension, the physical dimension, and the most important, social and emotional dimension of each and every child who is enrolled in our school should be developed, and this is how we add on value to it. Taking parents into confidence is one of the most important aspects an educational institution should always include in their approach of disseminating skills and knowledge. If you take parents on board, they are a formidable asset and they will help, because no child is developed unless and until you get the support from all the parents. We have a very unique concept that I would like to share here. We have this concept of parent on campus, where there is one parent in the school premises for the entire school hours, just to increase the transparency level between the parent community and the school. We do that, and it's been acknowledged by the parent community and also the stakeholders. We emphasize that every child that we educate is to be, the education granted at our schools is to prepare children for the 21st century, to live their life and to be competent enough to face the ever-changing world, and while retaining the Indian values. So there has to be a proper mix between scholastic and co-scholastic activities, and this is how we create a value by, what we say is the students that we are educating today are tomorrow's India. So if we educate students with this kind of a mindset, the country in general is going to be progressing. So that's how we add value to our schools.
Yeah, were your parents involved in this whole thing when you were preparing the...
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I just wanted to come back to one more point. While making the name of our school also, we have done a lot of brainstorming. If you see, Educon stands for, each letter stands for something else, some importance. E stands for excellence in school education. D stands for dedication in imparting quality education. U stands for unique concept of a living school. C stands for commitment towards building a nation. O is an optimistic approach towards learner, and N is nurturing young minds with care and affection. So even the logo, the colors, white, blue, red, signifies purity, trust, and courage. So while doing this, when we started the process of our schools, these things happened with time, as and when we grow, and that's how I think we create brand. All the schools that are sitting here, all the institutions, they themselves are brand in themselves. That's why they have been honored by a platform like Education Today. And if they continue doing that, the whole society will make a difference.
You're right. I think there is no big or a small brand at all. A brand is what we create for ourselves, for our schools, for our institution, and it matters that we communicate that across through our living. So the way of life inside your school and outside tells what kind of brand are you running, or what kind of a school you're running. So thank you so much for that. And Abba ma'am, my question to you would be that how does it help in building a brand? What happens? And just for the benefit of the audience, I'm going to tell you that I'm given these questions as surprise questions. They're not discussed beforehand. And I just told them that I think we've had this kind of competition. We've had a good education system right from the Gurukul system, right? So that's the whole way I'm going to be taking it forward. So they don't know the kind of questions. They're just answering it impromptu.
Thank you. Brand. I just want to share a small event. When we take the child, a 3 years or 2 years old child in the supermarket, and without reading, without knowing the alphabet, if I ask the child to choose the Cadbury, he will go on the proper stall, he take that Cadbury and brings to the mother or father. What does it mean? He knows the color, he knows the brand, and he knows the name of that particular atom. That's create a brand. The way it is getting popularized in the different media, it develops a brand. The quality develops the brand. The second part of the brand is the quality. Definitely, we are in the education field. The education field, the quality is the most important thing to develop the brand. But in this competitive world, in the era of advertisement, era of media, we need to have that type of publicity about our institution. When it comes to the institution, we should have our logo, our website, and all we are following the same. We have changed, the Mega Group has changed their logo. And we recently, last year only, we have changed our logo. Looking towards the need of new education policy, we have developed the logo. If you can see, I am putting the pin here on my sari that shows my new logo and the color which we have adopted for the school. As sir rightly said, every color has some symbolic importance, and we have chosen the blue, yellow, and the gray color for our brand. Along with that, the logo which we have changed, it symbolized that the earlier logo was the scholar's cap, as my school's name is the School of Scholars. So the logo was the scholar's cap. But now we have changed the logo into the different way, which symbolize the pencil, which symbolize the continuity of the figure, which gives education cannot be stopped, the education is continued process. So looking towards the need and the education system's requirement, we have to change the branding activities. When we are changing, it's a very difficult job because I have faced this in recent year, last year only. Changing the logo, the first impression goes into the society that somebody has taken this brand. So putting that in the mind of the parents, when we are dealing with the parents gets very disturbed. कि अरे ये क्या हो गया है, इन्होंने लोगो चेंज कर दिया, यानी ये स्कूल किसी और चलाने के लिए दिए, कोई और ये स्कूल चलाने वाला है. So taking them into the confidence, taking them into and showing them the importance of this change, we need to do it very, very carefully. And while doing also, taking them into, as sir said, the transparency between the school and the parents is very important while changing. That's only develops the brand. When my school, 1 school to 23 school, when we grow, so that gives a branding impact एक स्कूल के बाद दूसरी स्कूल जब शुरू करते हैं तो वो ब्रांड नेम के साथ में जाता है. With many brands are sitting here, the Poddar is sitting here, madam's brand is sitting, many branded schools are sitting here. So that gives identity. एक नाम काफ़ी होता है फिर. So same thing happens when the child goes into the supermarket or the parents comes to the school. They first see the what brand schools are available in the city, and with that brand the parents choose the academics that gives a quality. So the quality and the brand goes together. Thank you.
Thank you, Abha ma'am. I think she brought out a very beautiful point. Sometimes we move from one logo to another. It's simple. One aspect of branding is changed, right? You're moving from one logo. So I remember in 1985, Coca-Cola tried to change its logo because they had competition from Pepsi. So they thought they need to get it, trendier. So they called it the New Coke. But there was a backlash. People wouldn't accept it because they felt that this was not the original Coca-Cola. And therefore, Coca-Cola again revived it by calling it Coca-Cola Classic, which came back a couple of years later. So that's even in the corporate world. So, I think you're glad, and Aisha, I'm glad that, you have been able to maintain the same name and, despite the change, people have accepted the change. Because communication is very important. Similarly with Nike, do it. Okay, do it first is what they say. So when you have a logo like that, it actually came from a convicted murderer, and people felt that it was such a negative sentence of a convict that Nike has taken as its, as its statement or, line, okay, or copywriting line. And what did they do? They had the creatives that were made were all about athletes on the field and how athletes with the challenges came out superior and won things. So that was what was the message that was conveyed, and it got accepted. So sometimes even if you have something which is not really going right, you can convert it provided you have a lot of creative thinking in it, where you convert the entire story into a more positive story, a story that can give very, very positive results. Now, my question again to you, Seema, is about we establish a brand, we communicate it, everything is done. How do you keep it going? Because, okay, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you're up on it. You're gung-ho, so you keep pushing things across. What happens when times change, people change? How do you continue?
Beautiful question, because that's the biggest challenge. And we understand that consistency is the key. At the same time, when hands change, there's bound to be loss in communication, different ways of operating. So there has to be some champion actually. I feel so, that it is important to have that one champion to bind and inspire and motivate everybody with that one focus that we need to stick on to our vision, our mission, and the biggest value for which we stand for. So how do we get that going? We need to understand what do we stand for first. What sets us apart from others? And of course, have those regular interactive sessions, especially when hands change. Orientation is very, very important with the new people who come on board. So we are able to share with them that shared vision has to be there. Without a shared goal, shared vision, trickling this down or creating those ripple effects become difficult.
Thank you so much. And sir, to you, my next question is, competition is only increasing. The number of schools that are coming up by the dime and the dozen, they're all close to each other. Does that cutthroat competition affect branding exercise? Is branding also getting negatively competitive?
Basically, what I feel is all schools, like ma'am said, if they are very clear about their mission, vision, they know how they are going to impart education, including the latest things that are going on, like in the previous presentations of all these vendors, we could see there's a lot of technology that has come into education. So leveraging this technology to unleash student potential, that is also one thing. Now, due to this, what has happened is many more schools are coming up, there is a competition, but according to me, we should not be worried about competition. Because if your setup is having a proper school education ecosystem, you don't need to worry about competition. If you are delivering what is required, if your education aims at holistic well-being and education for global citizenship for all your learners, you are there to exist and you are there to stay. But however, there is a change in generation. Previous generation, when we studied in schools, removing a child from a school and putting the child into another school was a social stigma. There's something wrong with the child. But nowadays, the new generation of parents, if they feel that this school is not rising up to my standards or my expectation, I don't hesitate to remove a child from one school and put it to other. And that is where the competition, you might feel that if the retention rate is not so good or the number of new admissions that are happening are not as per your expectation, that means it calls for an introspection. You have to study what other schools in your vicinity are offering and try to deliver the best. That's what I feel.
Thank you so much. Abba ma'am, my question to you is a little tricky. We're talking today in a world of competition, but in a more collaborative spirit. NEB talks about collaboration among schools, cooperation among schools. Can you think about co-branding with other schools?
Sorry?
Can you think about co-branding with other schools? Call it collaborative branding, call it differently. Are you open to that? And why not?
Yeah. See, collaborative branding is a good idea and good concept. But if I'm open, the other person should be open for that. Because every school has some or other uniqueness in their curriculum, in their administration, in their facilities provided to the students, or in their different type of subjects and the other activities. Collaborative learning, particularly the CBSE has started the learning hubs, the principals hubs, education hubs, and in that education hubs, they ask principals to come together, 5 or 25 principal comes together, they discuss the best practices, and they share their activities with each other. That is one type of collaborative sharing the activities and the best practices. But along with that, when it comes to the branding, definitely no school will share the brand unless and until they take over that school. Because the administrative difficulties are more when as an administrator, as the owner of the school, when we look forward to the co-branding or supporting any school, there are many difficulties. As an administrator, I can share
I liked your frankness. I think she's just been candid about it. There are difficulties. We may be on the same plane. We may have similar ideas. We may have similar values.
Yeah.
But not very easy is what she's saying.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Matching the thought process, because every school owner has their own thought process, and based on that thought process, every school has their vision and mission.
I understand.
So to achieve the vision, they are striving to achieve that vision through the activities. That's why collaborative sharing is very difficult in the schooling
Seema,
sector.
you had something to say on that?
I was just wondering, when we talk of collaborative branding, could it be coming under one umbrella? And, there could be one common vision amongst a lot of people. Say, for example, we'll take our own example of ICSE schools. So coming under the umbrella of ICSE schools, and we co-brand as under a body where we share best practices with each other. maybe, could you call that co-branding? I don't think so, but it could be a kind of collaborative effort in improving the overall level and creating a synergy.
No, I actually just coined that word right now on the spot because based on the discussions we had actually. But yes, similar schools can come together to give the same kind of message without having any cutthroat competition. That would enable us to work more collaboratively and better. My last set of questions is something very personal, and it has only a word that you have to choose. Okay. Personally, and these are nothing to do with their schools, okay? If you were to choose your school colors, would it be vibrant or pastel?
Pastel.
Versus pastel, okay? Okay, I'll start it in the reverse.
Anybody can
Okay, pastel. And why, ma'am?
The
One sentence answer, ma'am. I'm running short of time. I just wanted one word, but I'm just asking you why you chose pastel because you just came promptly out with that. Right, yeah.
pastel because it is smoothing color. Soothing
It's
color.
soothing, okay. Vibrant is energetic. All right, okay. So, now to you. Your school mascot. Will it be iconic or will it be a fun image?
It will be a mixture of both iconic as well as fun. In fact, we have a mascot by the name Vikram, and it's a tiger, but it's in a comic form. So what we are trying to do here is through the mascot, we want to make the students aware that tiger, the mission tiger, and to be a part of that. At the same time, that tiger is in a little bit comic kind of a thing, where the students get attracted to him.
Okay. Your tagline, will it be catchy and going with the trend with the youngsters, or will it be an intelligent one which makes people think?
I think it will be inspiring or something that will make people think because it's about the whole school and not just one section.
Okay. So that's the end of our panel discussion. You heard their views. If there's anyone who would like to give a very different idea on what their brand would be like, you can. I deliberately put this last question because that will make all of us think of how we can present our school. Thank you very much to all the panelists for opening up and expressing yourselves so openly. Brands are there to stay. Each one of us run a brand, and let's all be proud of the brand that we run. It's not about who is better, bigger, or richer. It's about what we want to convey to our parents. With no two schools can be alike. But that's what we have to celebrate. We have to celebrate the differences that we have. We have to celebrate the moment that we are in. And we have to celebrate for each other. That's very important because that's when you will have a community of learners, not schools in isolation. Pockets of innovations we see. But if that pocket becomes a country of innovations, how beautiful it would be. That's what we need to see. On that note, thank you very much, panelists, for this beautiful discussion. And thank you, audience, for your patient hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
I just want to add one line, ma'am. May I? Just see the brand or any logo when we people choose, that logo should be a pride for everyone working with that institution. So whether it is a student,
Not just
parent,
pride, ma'am,
person.
it's sense of belongingness that we
Yes.
all have.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's all about that. It's a sense of belongingness that will bring more and more awards and rewards that we're getting. Okay, it's come all together. Belongingness, that's what it is. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, all the educators, for the wonderful panel discussion. Can I have Mr. Anil Sharma on the stage to felicitate the speakers?
Let's hear it for all the panelists, ladies and gentlemen.